Hey everybody, James Infeld here, invading your space. Here to share some music, hopefully some software insight into the music I'm creating and what I'm using, and give you a chance to hear some examples of some new software that's out that I have that I think you'll be interested in. This isn't going to be an in-depth tutorial, so if you're looking for a complete hour-long dissection of the software, then you should probably tune to another video. What I'm going to do here is just show you how these programs sound, how they fit into a mix, how I use them, because I think these are more real-world examples of what you might be encountering, and how you might utilize the software. I'm going to play a composition of mine that uses these three programs, and I'm going to just quickly run over the ones that I'd like to highlight today. The first one is the Eric Whitacre Choir from Spitfire. It's a fairly new release from Spitfire. I think people are starting to take the plunge because they see the incredible ambience and mood that this choir can achieve. There's some initial criticism that you're only getting ahs and ums and ohs, kind of your typical choir library stuff. But this has really taken it to a new level. And you get incredible detail and emotion, I think, from the samples that Eric and Spitfire have captured. The other program that I'd like to spend a little time with here today is Ethera, EVO. I don't know how many of you have checked this out, but it is very, very powerful. I think it's one of the finest single vocal emulation libraries out there. And I think it's cool because of the breathy quality that this Clara provides, who did the singing on this that they sampled. Her voice is fantastic. And for a certain mood of music, I think this thing can really can come through in a big way. The other thing that I did was use the vocal phrases that comes with the program. And you'll see over here with my mouse in the corner that I've got Ethera phrases, I've got her, and then I've got some synth sounds that were part of this library. And I use I call them kind of cosmic French horns. Pretty saturated. I think a lot of these libraries, especially Ethera, they need quite a dose of reverb, so it's easy to overdo it. So you got to be careful. Of course, I've got the a program I've been using for quite some time now. This Spitfire Symphonic strings, which I think it's really a step up from the Albion 1 library. It's really quite detailed. And you get a lot of variety within the program, so I've got some cellos here that I've used. And the other program that I think is noteworthy here is this Walker 1955 Steinway D piano, which I think, when you compare it with other piano libraries, this stacks right up there, if not, I think, at the top of the heap. Very, very rich, very full. I really like the sound of it. I didn't want to buy another piano library, but I couldn't help myself. Once I heard it, it was like, oh yeah, this is really, really nice. So I'm going to quickly play this composition, then we'll kind of come back and I'll show you how I used it. This is a composition of mine called Keepsake. And, there's not a lot of tracks. As you can see, I've got the piano. I got actually a couple other instances of the piano, just for some layering some lines. The symphonic strings, the cellos, the Ethera, the Eric Whitacre Choir, and then I do have the studio sopranos here by 8-dio, which I use for a soprano line, which I kind of stacked over the Eric Whitacre Choir, which, whether it blends or not, I'll let you be the judge. But it gave it a particular sound that I was looking for, so I went with it. Okay, without further ado, here's Keepsake, and you'll get to hear some of these software programs in action. there you have it, Keepsake. You know, the Walker Steinway, I mean, some people object to pedal noise, but it's really effective as far as the realism goes. You can hear at the very end the pedal releasing, which gives it that, I think, that extra sense of realism without being too distracting. Anyhow, going back to the software and how I utilized it, obviously I'll let you listen to a little bit of the Ethera phrase. A lot of this, the Ethera, the vocal, the true legato, and the phrases, they do kind of have to be drenched in reverb. It's kind of a thin line between too much and too little. But the quality that they've come up with here is really, really great. It's that breathy quality, I think, that really sets this library apart. I've got a number of other single vocal libraries that doesn't quite have that breathy kind of ambience to it that really gives it a cool, moody kind of vibe. And, you know, the true legato from the Ethera, I think, again, it's he's done a great job, the Sergio and Zero G. I'll play a little bit of this for you. One thing that I am doing throughout this, as you will see, is doing a lot of key switching. Okay, maybe not the greatest example, but because these are just the samples being displayed, but throughout the piece you're going to see the switching, and coupled with the mod wheel to get that kind of, you know, realistic voice. The Eric Whitacre Choir, again, I'll isolate that so you can hear a little bit of it. It's, you know, I didn't go too deep into the different selections that they have. I just, you know, went with this, you know, all-in-one 2D choir and just started key switching here and bringing up the this is quite sensitive, the mod wheel, so it's really well thought through. Let me just isolate there and play a little bit of it for you here. You can actually vary the brightness of this quite a bit just by the controls that you have as far as different mics, mic positions. So if you're looking for something brighter or something that has more of a kind of a stereo spread, you've got a lot of options within this program. And we haven't even talked about the grid or anything. This is just the basic choir. This is a very deep program with lots and lots of options. I've only used one track of it here, but as you've probably witnessed on some of the other demos, that there's a lot of combinations that you can combine and make this really, really come to life. The Whitacre Steinway, I know it's just a piano, but this thing is, I think, really at the top of the heap, or it's close to it. I'm sure there's lots of debate, but let me just isolate a section here so you can hear just how deep and rich this program is. Like I said, I think they have really, I mean, there's so many samples, so many different velocities. This is just really, really nice. So there's, I had a wrong note there. This, I think, the Whitacre, if you have some current piano tracks, this might be worthy of consideration to check this library out. And for the price, you can hardly beat it. Embertone is always very price competitive. Just for the last thing I'll demo here is the Ethera French Cosmic French horns, because I think that this is really a nice addition to the library. There's so many different synth samples that you can really spend weeks going through these to try to find something that works. Let me just play a little bit of this. Now, granted, there's a lot of reverb, but you know, it mixes in well. Just in case you were thinking about purchasing a string library, I'll just play a little bit of these symphonic strings, which I think are really, really, really nice. Very warm. Well, that's the long and the short of it. Hope you enjoyed the composition and hearing these software programs. I hope to be doing more of these. I've been working extensively with some different programs that I don't believe have had a lot of tutorials, and I'm hoping to feature those here shortly, along within some of my compositions. Thank you for joining, and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to hear more and see more videos. Like I said, I'll also be featuring some other artists that I'm working with, and some insight into the songwriting process and the software that we're using. Okay, thanks for joining. Hope to see you again soon. Take care.